What if the next APS-C camera didn't just compete with full frame, but actively made you question why full frame still exists? Because that is exactly the kind of energy surrounding the rumored Fujifilm X-T6 right now. The leaks sound almost unreal, and that is what makes them so exciting. Today, we're unpacking the biggest rumored upgrades, what they actually mean in real-world shooting, and whether this could be the camera that completely resets expectations for APS-C. Stick around, because the implications here go way beyond a spec sheet. So, what do we know so far? The heart of the X-T6 is rumored to be a 40-megapixel X-Trans CMOS 6 BSI sensor paired with a brand new X Processor 6. On paper, that sounds like a recipe for noise and slower performance, but the BSI design changes the conversation. By pulling more light into each pixel and pairing it with a faster processor, Fujifilm appears to be targeting better dynamic range, cleaner high ISO files, and faster readout speeds. Translation: more detail without sacrificing flexibility. Less rolling shutter in video, fewer artifacts when panning, and more room to push shadows and highlights in post. This is not about chasing megapixels for marketing, it's about making high resolution actually usable. Now, here's where the debate gets juicy. Autofocus has always been the one asterisk next to Fujifilm cameras. Incredible colors, beautiful ergonomics, but tracking that sometimes felt a step behind. The X-T6 rumors suggest that chapter may finally be closing. AI-based subject detection for people, animals, birds, and vehicles is expected, with significantly improved tracking reliability. The promise is simple but powerful. The camera stays locked on the subject instead of second-guessing itself. Stack 8 stops of in-body image stabilization on top of that, and suddenly handheld shooting opens up in a big way. Slower shutter speeds, smoother video, and more freedom to shoot without support gear all become realistic options. This is where Fujifilm seems to be making a statement. The X-T6 is rumored to offer 8K at 30 frames per second and 4K at 120 frames per second, both with internal 10-bit recording. That is not casual video capability, that is professional workflow territory. Add F-Log 2 for extended dynamic range and talk of external ProRes or Blackmagic RAW support, and it becomes clear this camera is not treating video as an afterthought. The inclusion of a fully articulating screen reinforces that direction. Vloggers, solo creators, and filmmakers working in tight spaces finally get flexibility without contortionist framing. Then comes the most unexpected rumor of all, a 200-megapixel pixel shift multi-shot mode. This is not everyday feature, but when conditions are right, it pushes APS-C into medium format territory for detail. Landscapes, architecture, product work, and studio photography suddenly gain a new option. Combine that with dual card slots, modern USB-C connectivity, improved wireless options, weather sealing, and Fujifilm's film simulations, and the X-T6 starts to feel like a complete professional tool rather than a niche upgrade. Here's the bigger picture. If these rumors hold, the X-T6 is not chasing beginners or casual shooters. It's aimed squarely at working professionals and serious enthusiasts who want one camera that does everything well. Wedding photographers who need reliable autofocus, content creators who bounce between stills and cinema-quality video, landscape shooters who crave detail without medium format size and cost, even wildlife photographers who love Fujifilm color but have been waiting for autofocus confidence. And maybe most importantly, it makes a compelling argument that full frame is no longer the default upgrade path. So here's the bottom line. The Fujifilm X-T6, based on current leaks, looks less like an incremental update and more like a line in the sand. A camera that treats photo and video as equals, that prioritizes real usability over flashy numbers, and that could redefine what APS-C means in 2026. If the pricing lands in premium APS-C territory but stays realistic for the feature set, this could be one of the most important hybrid cameras Fujifilm has ever made. Now the question goes back to you. Which rumored upgrade excites you most? And do you think this could finally replace full frame for your work? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
Are you holding on to your X Pro 3 because it still feels like home, or are you secretly tempted to jump to an XT or XH body? Today, we're diving into the Fujifilm X Pro 6 rumors and why a delay might actually be a very good sign. Stick around because I'll explain what Fujifilm seems to be prioritizing, what that means for the iconic hybrid rangefinder experience, and why patience could pay off for photographers who shoot with intention. Trust me on this one. The wait might be worth more than you think. Why the X Pro line matters. You know what's funny? In a world obsessed with raw speed and specs wars, the X Pro series quietly taught us to slow down. The hybrid optical electronic viewfinder, the tactile dials, the whole deliberate workflow, that is the soul of X Pro. This segment is for the folks who love composition more than chasing megapixel flex. If you value feel, thoughtfulness, and a camera that nudges you into better framing, the X Pro line is less about feature lists and more about experience. That's why any news about a 6th generation matters beyond numbers. Reconfirmations and the delay story. So why the delay chatter? Fujifilm's roadmap reconfirmations tell us the X Pro is alive, but they also hint at careful, considered development. This isn't the kind of product you rush. Think of it like a craft watchmaker refining a movement rather than an assembly line pumping out models. Interviews and corporate signals suggest the company is aligning sensor, processor, and viewfinder tech before announcing anything official. That slow cadence is frustrating, yes, but it also increases the chance the X Pro 6 arrives as a meaningful update rather than a cosmetic refresh. What to reasonably expect? Now let's get juicy. Based on the tech trajectory, expect a leap in image quality and processing rather than tiny incremental bumps. A next-generation sensor and faster processor seem likely, pushing resolution, dynamic range, and low-light performance. Autofocus improvements, better subject tracking, and more confident low-light focusing would make street and portrait shooters grin. Don't expect full cinema-level video features, but anticipate sensible upgrades that let hybrid creators capture high-quality 4K without turning the camera into a video-first device. Later, I'll tell you which small ergonomic tweak could change everything for street shooters. Design, ergonomics, and the viewfinder. Here's where the X Pro soul has to stay intact. Fans want a camera that feels like an instrument. So expect refined ergonomics, possibly a slightly slimmer body with better grip texture, thoughtful button placement, and weather sealing that keeps you shooting in real conditions. The hybrid viewfinder should remain the crown jewel, perhaps with improved overlays, faster refresh, and smarter switching between optical and electronic modes. Small design choices, a better tilt for the rear screen, a more discreet exposure compensation dial, can dramatically improve day-to-day use. In my experience, those are the details that make a camera feel loved. Okay, here's the bottom line. The X Pro 6 looks set to respect the series' DNA while stepping up in core performance. Waiting is annoying, but if Fujifilm uses the extra time to deliver meaningful sensor, processing, and viewfinder upgrades, the payoff could be huge for photographers who care about craft. So, what do you think? Will you hold on to your X Pro 3 or leap to something newer when the X Pro 6 lands? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your wish list. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive.